Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's educational presentation, where today I want to talk to you about powerful trend reversals. Let me show you a few examples here. Here we have an uptrend in BBY. Now, if you tried to pick a trend reversal, let's say right here, it would have worked for a little bit, and then you would have been stopped out or would have lost some money. And even right here, if you thought the trend was reversing just for a week or two before it went right back up. But what if I told you there was a unique indicator, a brand new tool that actually identified a trend reversal right here at or near the highs of the stock before it fell 45 points. And it works the other way as well. This tool identified a downtrend here in Microsoft. And as you can see right on this bar right here, the very bottom, it identified a trend reversal. And the stock coming into this past week has shot up 165 points. So this is going to be the topic of today's educational presentation, powerful trend reversals. And I'm happy to say that you can identify these trend reversals with one click on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform, that actually auto-identifies these with one-click ease. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to our webinars, we're all about one thing, and that is simply educating you as traders. Because it's our belief that the reason why most traders fail is because you're really taking yourself out of the game. You're allowing someone or something else to make your trading decisions for you. And we feel the reason for that is because you're not totally educated in really how to identify highly consistent signals. So that's our goal. That's our sole purpose, to really educate you with all of the things I've accumulated in my nearly 5 decades of trading. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. I left the floor in the mid-90s to manage money and to trade my own account. And about 20 years ago, I started teaching, and 15 years ago, I formulated specialist trading with proprietary strategies. So that's our only goal, and that's simply to educate traders around the world. And you'll see that in today's educational presentation. Now, before we begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to share with you a lot of performance results by applying this tool, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Another way to get education on a daily basis is 2 different ways. First, you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. There's our handle right there. You can copy down the abbreviation for Specialist Trading at SPCLST-TRADG. Or you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are forecasting this right now on YouTube. And if you'd like to see more content, just hit the subscribe button and we'll have a lot more for you there. So 2 ways to follow us to get daily signals and daily little snapshots of methods that have generated signals on X, or to subscribe on YouTube. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. And we're going to be talking about a brand new tool, very, very innovative tool here we call the PTR. And for those of you who wonder what PTR stands for, it's simple. It's the Primo Trend Reversal Trading Tool. So let me share with you some of the highlights of this particular method. It's our most unique trading tool to date. And the reason is because it's designed to identify reversal bars. We don't have another tool or another method that does that. This is our most unique new trading tool. Now, it has a very high degree of accuracy. I'm going to share with you a lot of examples in just a few minutes, but I'm not going to tell you that every signal is perfectly the bottom of a brand new starting trend or the top of a trend that just ended, but they get extremely close. That's why we say they have a very high degree of accuracy. Now, there are numerous ways to apply and to trade the PTR. We teach you all these different ways in the course. And then lastly, and I think most importantly, you can apply the PTR to virtually any time frame and any market as well. So it makes no difference if you're trading a monthly chart of the futures, or if you're trading a weekly chart of the British pound. It makes absolutely no difference. The PTR, when all the requirements are met, if it deems that a trend reversal is about to take place, it will generate a signal arrow for you. Now, we have a lot of students that say, well, Steve, if I'm looking at daily bars, sure, I can see these trends maybe that change, that last maybe a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but I'm looking for those big trend changes. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to go out for a little higher time frame, and we're going to try to spotlight those major trend changes by looking at a higher time frame. All right, so let's go through the trading process just to show you how simple this is. And remember, we're applying our PTS Primo charting platform with simplicity in all of the signals. Let's look at some bottom trend reversals, okay? Now, since we're looking at a higher time frame, we're looking at weekly bars. Here's a weekly bar of AZM. As you can see, this is heading lower. It's a classic downtrend. You have lower highs and lower lows. So since we're going lower, we want to know if that trend is going to change. As you can see here, signals were not generated here. And what about this new low that has been generated? Well, at this point, you would simply click on the PTR tab right here on our platform. In the drop-down menu, click on signal arrows. And if all the requirements are met, you would see identified a green arrow signifying that there is a trend reversal about to take place. If there was no trend reversal, if the requirements were not met, well, then you would not see a signal arrow. So let's see what happened. Yes, there was an arrow right here, a green arrow, telling you that most likely the trend is going to start going higher. And this was a weekly chart of AZN, and the chart went up 25 points. Now, we know that 25 points is an extreme amount of points, but remember, that's 40% value gain of the stock. So it gained 40% value in the following weeks. Now, this can work the opposite way. Let's look at some topping trend reversals. All right, we're looking at a weekly chart of CrowdStrike. As you can see, this is a classic uptrend. We're making higher highs, higher lows. But as with all trends, they come to an end sometime, and sometimes they will reverse. So we're trying to identify if there is going to be a reversal. So the way we do that in an uptrend is, once again, click on the PTR, click on signal arrows, and if the requirements are met, you will find a red arrow telling you that a trend reversal is about to take place. And as you can see, it was generated right here. This was just the first week of this month, and look what happened. The stock fell 160 points, or 45% of its value. Now remember, everything you just saw was generated using our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform, which really makes identifying trend reversals extremely simple because everything is one click away. So what I want to do right now is actually go and look at our actual charting platform and look at current setups viewing weekly charts. But before we do that, remember, I'm going to share with you performance results looking at these current charts, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. So I'm toggling on over to our charts. These are our charts here that we have on our platform. As you can see, our first chart is Amgen. Now, this is hard to tell because, as we see, we were going straight up, looked like the trend reversed here and went straight down, and now it's going back up again. So how could the PTR have helped us? Remember, these are weekly charts. Well, once again, we click on our PTR on our platform, click on signal arrow, and look what happened. Right at the very top, there was a trend reversal on a weekly time frame. This was in March of this year, where the stock topped out. You could have sold and potentially captured 40 points going lower until right at the very low bar, we see that a trend reversal was once again generated, and you could have potentially captured, either covered your short or gotten back in to go long, 35 points to the upside. See how simple that was? This is how you can capture these large gains. Now remember, another way students like to trade this is they don't necessarily take these signals to actually buy and sell, but what they'll do is say, well, okay, once I know that there's an uptrend in Amgen, well, then I'll use my strategy or my technique to look for long signals. There's lots of different ways to apply this, and we share with you these in the course. Let's look at another chart. Here's a weekly chart of ANET, Arista. Kind of the same view. We're going higher, we make a top, we go lower, we make a bottom. Now we're going higher again. We're going really high, and this is coming into this month. Can the PTR help us with any of these swings? Once again, we just find the PTR indicator on our screen, click on signal arrows, and if it has found that all the requirements are met, it will generate these up and down arrows. Well, look what happened. There was a trend reversal signal generated right here at or near the top. It didn't hit the exact top, and one at the exact bottom right here in April. And look what's happened since that. It's gone straight up. Now, we know that this wasn't at the top. Now, if you're using a tight stop or actually trading this, you most likely would have gotten stopped out. But in the course, we show you how you could have gotten back in if you're actually trading this and taking advantage of this downward move. So ANAT went down roughly 40 points. And coming into this past week, it's gone up 60 points since it signaled that the trend was going to the upside. Let's look at BBY, weekly chart, okay? This was going up nicely, and it's been kind of heading south ever since roughly about last year, this time last year. Could the PTR have helped? Well, yeah. At the very top bar, or at or near that very top bar, it signaled a trend reversal to the downside. This is when the stock was trading roughly about 100 or par. And the stock has basically fallen 45 points and not generated a trend reversal to the upside. So if you were long this stock, let's say in your portfolio, you don't have to necessarily go short. You could have used this to exit and wait for a time to get back in and saved yourself a good 45 or maybe 50 points on the downside. Here's a weekly chart in the Bank of New York. Same scenario here, right at the top, it signaled a trend change where it went down 15 points, but then right at the very bottom on this week, it signaled an up move. This was in April of this year, where it continues to go higher, 25 more points to the upside. As we look at CI, it signaled the top here, and we had two signals, and it signaled the top here. Now, we've never signaled a buy or trend change to the upside, but we had two different chances to go short or get out at least. So let's say you never exited your long position here. Well, you had a second chance to get out roughly when the stock was trading at 335. Now, the first setup generated 90 points you could have saved yourself. The second setup was 80 points you could have saved yourself. Let's look at CLX or Clorex. Here was another example of not picking the exact high, but very close to it. If you were actually trading this, you had about 3 or 4 weeks where it went in your favor, then went against you. Well, you would have been stopped out most likely with a loss. But we show you how to get back in. And you could have potentially captured roughly about 30 or 40 points to the downside coming into this last month. As we look at CMI, we see here that there was no sell signal or no trend reversal top generated, but we had a bottom generated here in April. And ever since that, the stock has shot up 105 points coming into this week. Remember, we're looking at weekly charts, and you don't necessarily have to trade these charts. What you could do is, if you're interested in buying CMI, once you saw that it generated a trend reversal to the upside bar, well, then all you have to do is apply your own strategy or your own way of buying CMI. It's up to you. Let's look at AVGO. The same thing applied in April. And very interesting, the last week of July, what do we have here? A sell signal. So it's actually generating, we're not telling you to sell short or to get out of your position, but you may want to follow this because AVGO now has officially generated a trend reversal to the downside on a weekly time frame. Here's an example in CEG. Once again, another example in April where there's a lot of bottoming out here. As you can see, this stock has gone straight up, and you could have potentially captured 150 points. Now, as we said, this just doesn't work for stocks. Let's look at the Euro British pound. Here we have the Euro pound going lower, and right here at or near the lows, it signals that a trend change was going to happen. And even though it's had these fits and starts, up, down, it's still in an uptrend. No downward trend reversal has been generated, and you could have potentially captured 450 pips. That's roughly $4,500 in the first 6 or 7 months per unit. As we look at Microsoft, another buy signal generated at the bottom of this downtrend earlier in the year, about 3 or 4 months ago. And it's continued to go straight up coming into August. Microsoft has gone up 165 points. As we look at AMAT, okay, once again, Applied Materials, a bottom was signaled right here. And looking at that move to the upside, it's gone up 55 points. And now, just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, it generated a trend reversal signal, but this time to the downside. and it's gone down 15 points so far. So you may want to watch this one as well. Now let's look at another currency pair, weekly chart of the euro Canadian dollar. And just to let you know, this currency pair has been going straight up for the past 8-9 months. But look what happened this last week. A trend reversal bar was generated to the downside. So if you're trading this, you may want to take note. We're not giving any instructions or giving any trade recommendations. It's entirely up to you, your choice. But this indicator, the PTR, has deemed that all the requirements are met, that a trend reversal is most likely taking place in the euro Canadian dollar. And not only there, but if you look at the GSPC, the weekly chart, that's the S&P 500. Look what happened here in April. Another bottom trend reversal signal was generated, and it went straight up coming into May, coming into June. And look what happened. Well, here we had a trend reversal signal to the downside. And did that work okay? No, it didn't. You would have been most likely stopped out. But what do we have here? Well, this past week, another trend reversal to the downside signal was generated. So once again, just something to watch. This is not a trade recommendation. This is not any type of signal for you to take. We're just telling you that the indicator, with all its requirements being met, has generated a trend reversal in the S&P 500 index to the downside. This just happened this past week. So there you see how simple it is to actually apply this. Let's go back to the presentation once more. And let's recap what we shared with you today about the PTR. Remember, it's our most unique new trading tool simply because it's designed to identify reversal bars. We've never done anything like this in the past. It has a very high degree of accuracy, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every bar is the exact bottom for a trend reversal or every signal is the exact top. As you saw, we showed you a number of examples where it wasn't. The good news is we share with you different stop placements and different ways to get back in the course. As we just say here below there are numerous ways to apply and to trade. You don't have to actually trade these signals. You can use this as guiding posts and as barometers, and you can apply your own strategy. And the best thing about this, you can apply it not only to any market, but to any time frame. So even if you're trading 5-minute charts, if you're trading monthly bars, makes absolutely no difference. If the requirements are met, the PTR will generate a trend reversal signal. Okay, as we come to the close here, I want to tell you about a great attendee discount for the PTR. We're going to offer you our new PTR Primo Trend Reversal tool at a great discount. This is an entirely new indicator. It's a non-traditional indicator-based method. You can apply to any market, any time frame. And guess what? We have not only aggressive ways to trade it, but we also have conservative versions to trade as well. It mainly is focused on identifying the exact bar, and it does this with pinpoint accuracy. Now, you can also apply this to option trading. In other words, if a signal is generated at or near the low of a downtrend, well, this means that the premiums will be very inexpensive. It's a perfect time to actually buy some calls or some type of option strategy with an upward bias, okay? Now, everything you saw here was displayed using our platform. You saw how simple it was to identify and generate these signals using the PTS Primo charting platform. Well, guess what? If you decide to become a student of mine in the PTR course today, we're going to throw in a full year of the platform absolutely free. So you'll be able to, with one-click access, see where those signals are. You'll get the proprietary new PTR tool. You'll also get our buy-sell line indicator. These are 4 ways of telling what the overall trend is. So you'll know which direction a certain market is going, and it will help you in applying the PTR. You get a strength of trend feature, telling you if a trend has a lot more room left to go either up or down, or if it's running out of gas. Over 90 of the most technical prominent indicators, along with automatic exit levels. But here's what I think is the most valuable thing on the platform: our signal scanner. You'll be able to scan on a nightly basis for these PTR setups. Let me share with you what I mean here. I'm going to go back and toggle back to the platform. We're going to look at a new screen here. This is the blank interface of our platform. So what you would do if you wanted to actually scan on the close of the day is you would once again find the PTR, which is right here, click it on, and instead of hitting signal arrows, this time we're going to hit scan, okay? And you see the scan page come up. Very simple. Now go to the far left and click on load signals. And we're looking at daily bars here. If you wanted to change it to 30-minute, 60, you can actually go even shorter. You can go to a 1 minute if you like. But if you'd like to go to larger time frame, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, let's look at daily, okay, since we haven't looked at that. And we want to look at the symbol. So we can look at a number of symbols of stocks. Let's just look at the indices here. Let's look at the NASDAQ 100. Okay, so we're scanning through the entire NASDAQ 100 to see if there are any PTR signals being generated right now. So I have to hit a scan. Now, I've explained this process to you. You see how simple it is, but it would take you a lot quicker to do without me explaining it, probably less than 20 seconds. Now, you see these on the far right, these green tabs. These are generating new signals. As we can see here, there's one in PayX, P-A-Y-X. Okay, this is Paychex Incorporated. Let's click this on. Okay, you simply double click it on, hit OK, and as we can see here, the stock has been going lower, and at this time, roughly about a couple, maybe 3 hours before the close, it is generating a trend reversal is about to take place in this stock on a daily time frame. Okay, once again, this is not a trade recommendation. We're not telling you to go out and buy PayX, but all the requirements are met. Here's the only caveat. We still have 3 hours to go. If the stock decides to change, the parameters may change. In other words, let's say the stock goes straight up. Well, maybe the parameters will change in the generation of signals. Let's say the stock decides to go straight down in the next 3 hours. Well, maybe the parameters will change in the concept of generating a PTR trend reversal signal. So you have to really wait. If you're doing daily bars, you have to wait roughly about 2 or 3 minutes before the close. You see how simple this process was. It took less than a minute to identify these signals, but that's how easy it is. So I would say roughly about 2 minutes or maybe 1 minute before the close, click on a scan and you can see a list of stocks there and you could buy on the close or the next day, whatever you want, okay? That's how simple this process is. And once again, you'll only get this scanning process, as you see right here, on the PTS Primo Charting platform. And if you become a student of mine, this is all included, okay? As we go back to the platform, remember the signal scanner comes with your purchase of the PTR course. If you're still undecided, let's take one last look at one last chart here, okay? We're going back to weekly charts. This is a weekly chart of the spiders. That's the ETF, the stock that represents the S&P 500. As you can see on this weekly time frame, all of the bars were headed higher. We were going in a really nice uptrend, okay? But then look what happened here. Right here at or near the top, the PTR triggered a trend reversal, saying that the trend was most likely going to be stopping to the upside and go lower. Here's the one thing I want you to notice. Remember, we're looking at a weekly chart of the spiders. The only thing I want you to notice is to go down to the chart. What is the date here? This is January 2020. Do you remember what happened in 2020? I think most of you do. You can't forget that. That was the big COVID bear market that lasted about 2 months, okay? Well, guess what? Look what happened after that. Now, even though it went a little bit higher, in the course, we teach you how you could have gotten back in and taken advantage of this tremendously strong downtrend. Now, as we went down for the next month or so, everyone thought the world was going to come to an end, right? We were in the middle of COVID. No one knew how this was going to end. We didn't have any answers to the virus. But look what the PTR did. It generated a buy signal in March of 2020, just 3 months later. And as we all know, the market has gone straight up since then. We haven't even gone back to test those lows ever since. So we're talking about powerful trend reversals, or basically the PTR. If you're still a reversal trader, if you really want to trade reversal markets, you can't afford to not trade with the new PTR. Here's how to take advantage of this, okay? Remember, this is a great offer. We're going to discount this for you. Normally, price for the PTR, it's that powerful and that popular, is roughly up to $5,000. We're going to discount that, a 10% discount, down to $44.95. You're going to save $500 or 10%, but we're going to take it up a notch as well. We know that $44.95 is still a little bit too difficult for some people to come up with. So for a limited time only, we'll also have payment plans. So what does this mean? Well, this means you don't even have to come up with a $44.95. You can come up with a fraction, literally a fraction of that, and just establish a monthly payment plan with ProTrader Strategies. And by doing that, you can be up and running as early as today. That's how simple it is to establish a payment plan. You don't have to pay the $44.95, but either way, you'll still get the 12 months free of the platform. So if you want to pay in full, if you have the resources, you can say, sure, I could pay $44.95 and get that 10% discount. Great. You'll get 12 months of the platform absolutely free. But if you need a payment plan to make ends meet, that's great. They can establish that with you as well, and you'll still get a full year free of the platform. Take your trading to the next level with the PTR. We have so many success stories of people that are so happy with this tool that it's really turned their trading around. I really think it can help you as well. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, ProTrader Strategies. They are in charge of all the discounts. They're also in charge of all the setting up a payment plan with you, or they can just answer any question and give you a quote, and therefore you'll know exactly how much it may cost you. They're very flexible. They're there to work with you. I would really recommend giving them a call at 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They'd be more than happy to answer any question you may have about costs or financing. Or if you want, they can take your order over the phone right now if you like. But remember, there's absolutely no obligation. They're there to work with you and there to answer any question you may have. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is a link that will take you to the info and the sign-up page, but it's not a live link. But if you click on the chat, the little chat icon in the Zoom screen there, you'll see that they've posted a live link. So all you have to do is click that on, and that will take you to a live browser where you can get more information on that sign-up page, okay? Okay, we've come to the end. I have just a few minutes for any questions that you may have. If you have any questions, please, now's the time to ask. Just go to the question and answer page, or you can also go to the chat box, click it on, and just type in your question there. I see we have one coming in right now. So this, you're telling me, Steve, that this can also work intraday? Sure. As long as the requirements are met, the PTR can be established to generate signals in any market and any time frame. So it makes no difference. I've seen some great signals intraday in E-mini futures. A lot of our students also use them on intraday trading of stocks like IBM and Tesla. Makes no difference. So sure, it basically works off of a formula. And the formula doesn't know what time frame is. It's not based on time frame. It's just based on market behavior. And so it's basically using that formula to see if signals are generated. Okay. Another question here says, Steve, if I use the signals to trade, how do I exit? Well, we shared all that with you in the course. I'm sorry, I couldn't go over that today because I'm only allowed to give you so much information. It wouldn't be fair to our thousands of students who have already purchased the PTR if I started giving away all the rules and telling you all how to trade it. So all of that is in the course. So we have upwards of 6 or 7 ways to exit, 6 or 7 ways to enter, also 6 or 7 ways to place your stop. So remember, our goal as a mentor is to provide you with all these different variables so that ultimately you can make your choice. Let's say you're the type of trader that wants to get in right away. Okay, well, we have entry signals to do that. Let's say you're the type of trader that wants to get as most bang for your buck, try to squeeze as much profit as possible. Okay, well, we have exit plans, exit techniques that allow you to do that. But it's up to you to decide. We can't tell you which one works best for you. We have to show you what these are and then let you decide based on your risk parameters and what makes you feel comfortable. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Any more questions? Remember, even if you're not decided yet, give ProTrader Strategies a call. They're there to work with you, very flexible, absolutely no obligation. They can answer any question you have. They can give you a quote to establish a payment plan. Okay, so give them a call at 310-598-6677. They're there to work with you, and they'd be happy to answer any question that you may have. Okay? Okay, if there are no further questions as we come to the close here, I'd like you just to take one last look at our disclaimer. And I really hope you learned something about the PTR today. As I stated, it's our most innovative tool to date, simply because it's designed to identify the bar that is most likely to trigger a trend reversal. We don't have anything like that in our arsenal of trading tools that we teach our students around the world. So it's a great, great tool, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTR course. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day, and I wish you all the best of luck in trading. Bye-bye.